Yo, 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 what's up? Tri-Swim Coach crew, welcome to the Tri-Swim Coach podcast. That's right, this is the show where we take your swim game from help, I'm drowning to watch me crush this triathlon. I'm your host, Coach Dominic Latella, the guy who's going to make sure you stop flailing and start flying through the water. And guess what? 2025 is bringing the heat. We're talking swim camps in Austin, Texas, land of tacos and Tex-Mex, end of March probably. Salt Lake City, Utah in July. Never been, but I hear they've got some pretty mountains. We'll see. Oh, and the Bahamas trip in February. Yes, sold out. Tough break for you guys. Next time, though, hopefully, maybe. So, do yourself a favor. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook. Follow us on TriSwimCoach.com for all updates. Seriously, what are you waiting for? All right, enough of my yapping. Goggles on, swim caps tight. Let's dive into today's episode. All right, back at it after our little Christmas/New Year break. I feel like the last 2 weeks has been very relaxing and we'll say also very refreshing. And I'm so excited to get back to like coaching and doing all the work that I love to do. And then we got hit by this snowstorm and it's kind of set me back into vacation mode, which is not good.
I feel like as an adult, snow always comes when you don't want it to. At least that's how I feel. Because you're right. If it was like a month from now, I go, great, a break. Thanks for the snow. I'm like, oh, I'm cold.
I don't want to do things when I'm cold.
I wanted to do things until I felt cold.
But we're back at it, and this past week, we're at a point now in the year or the training off season, I guess, where a lot of my clients are kind of coming to a point of working on force production, which takes a lot of time to get to that point, meaning
Physically and mentally?
it's physical, it's kind of mental, I guess, for sure, because you have to learn the movement patterns that you're supposed to hold and make, right? Like your posture isn't supposed to change to generate more force, right? Your arms shouldn't travel more distance to generate more force. They'd be traveling the same distance during the underwater phase and the recovery phase, right? It should be the same exact movement pattern, but just more force applied.
I meant mentally. What I meant was you have to make sure your client is in. They've learned enough to get to this point to mentally understand the work they're physically going to have to be doing. Am I articulating that well?
I think I understand what you're saying. I don't think it's as mental in that component because it's fairly easy to describe what we're going after. And this is how I've been describing it, actually. The work that we're doing is, we'll say this, swimming is high rep, low weight. Duh.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? I'm moving the weight of, like, a reduced weight of my body weight in the water. And I'm moving my limbs above the water, so there's weight to that, but it's the weight of my arm.
Right.
All right. So swimming is high rep, low weight. So what we've been doing is low rep, 1 or 2, maybe 3 reps, strokes essentially.
In this drill that you're doing.
With as much possible body weight that they can push. Meaning if someone weighed, 150 pounds, I want them to move 200 pounds.
Push 200 pounds.
Basically, that's the idea. So the other way that I sort of get them to understand what we're looking for is if you've ever done a box jump, you know you have to load in order to box jump, and that takes a lot of force and power.
And what do you mean by load?
Load weight, hold weight. You have to like wind up for that box jump, right? You go down into a somewhat of a squat position, right? Versus jumping rope. Jumping rope, we're not loading. We're just jumping. We're getting off that ground quickly.
Little
we're exploding,
pushes.
right?
Now, is that more, not to go off topic, just to ask a
whatever.
question about that. Is that more fast twitch?
No.
Not necessarily, no. I just answered my own question.
Good.
Just thinking about it, right? Just because you were saying
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. So with the concept of trying to load and push as much weight as possible, another way to describe it is if you were on a bike, we're trying to make you pedal on the biggest gear or ring possible.
And is that the hardest one to push?
Yeah, it's going to take the most work to push that.
I am not a bike person.
Nor am I, but I understand the concept.
Listen, I can ride a bike, but like that's like from my childhood where you have like fake shocks and you got it at like Toys R Us and
Oh,
like,
that's
my
not
God,
true.
look how shiny it is.
You trained for triathlon on road bikes and all that stuff.
Right, I can do it conceptually. If you like write down what I'm doing, like when you're switching from a smaller gear to a bigger gear. Okay, I guess when I say it out loud, logically, that makes sense. It would be more difficult. But
You got it.
I got there.
We're waking up still.
I got it.
Our brains are defrosting still. So yeah, we basically change the script, right? We flip it and go, all right, instead of taking a bunch of strokes, we're only going to take one stroke. We start with just one stroke. We've been doing both arms at the same time, where they have to set a catch really slowly. Mm-hmm. And then they have to start to shrug their shoulder blades down their rib cage really slowly and controlled. And around midway through the shrug, they're going to accelerate and just push as hard as they possibly can without their arms exiting the water in any way.
So all the way through.
All the way through.
Catch, push, finish.
Yep. And that's the end.
And you're
one stroke. That's it.
accelerating.
How much power can you actually generate in one stroke? And so then we do that a couple of rounds. And then if someone gets really good, we'll go to like 2 strokes or 3 strokes, just doing underwater recoveries, because otherwise they're swimming butterfly, and I don't want people to swim butterfly if they don't know how to swim butterfly.
Such a fun way to teach people, though.
It really
you know
is.
what this really is? A stroke that would be great for you to learn. That's how I trick everyone into doing fly.
So once we get to a point where they're generating pretty good force, both limbs at the same time, and they're not.
Oh, so you do have them do both at the same time?
Yep.
Okay.
Just like it would be like fly without underwater recovery, essentially.
So I am going both arms, catch, push,
We'll say
wee!
And we, yes. Fly away.
So since I'm doing both, that answers the question I was going to ask you. Are you having them rotate? No, they do this. So no, we're just doing forward movement.
Yeah, I like the idea of breaking it down to a very simple movement first to make the force production a little bit more straightforward. And this kind of goes back to the conversation we were having with Ryan last podcast about the mid-ball slam stuff. All right? Essentially, we're doing a mid-ball slam horizontally. Does that make sense? Just no ball.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So if I'm in, right. So you asked me that question. So immediately I picture land movement, which is less conceptually easy for me to understand.
So funny.
It's just so weird.
You definitely spend a lot more time on land than
No, I
water.
know. So I just have to, I go, okay, I'm in a squat then. But that doesn't matter for this purpose, correct?
Yeah, and actually when...
Went too far.
yeah, well, right.
Added too many thoughts.
I basically will take people out of the water and make them do a med ball slam, but with just like a Pilates ball, not an actual med ball. And they're not allowed to squat down in order to throw that ball. So it is true to what they'll be doing when they're swimming. They have to maintain their swimming posture in a vertical position on land.
It's harder for me to understand it on land. But just because when I first think of things, I'm like, how would I explain that to someone from this avenue? Right? And so in the water, you're not paying attention to your legs, or you're holding your legs in a float. Right? But on land, in order for me to understand that movement, I have to like put my legs into it because I'm standing. So that it makes it, I'm like, oh, for me to explain this to you in that movement, I almost have to explain so much more of a different movement that it becomes mentally confusing. Do you know what I mean? Because
Not at all.
Okay, so to me,
What are you talking about?
to me, I have to put myself into, because you said med ball slam.
Uh-huh.
For me, I have to have balance to do that. So I have to think, well, I have to put my legs in this position in order to do that, right? But in the pool, you're not thinking that because you don't, right? They're not bracing.
You're using your legs to brace your med ball slam,
That's
not your core.
No. Yeah, my core. But you have to have your legs in a position. So in order for me to like think through the whole movement on land, I feel like I would almost have to be like, okay, well, put your legs in this position, but like that doesn't matter in here. So like listen to me for this, but ignore that for this. And then it's like, why would I even go down that path of trying to explain it that way?
Because we're trying to isolate the thoracic spine. And
No, I understand. I'm saying like, I think it actually stems from the fact that I have so many teenage glands.
Yeah,
When
you
we
definitely
talk-
think differently than I do.
Yeah, so I think that's what I meant earlier when I said they need to mentally be able to understand, because I deal with that a lot.
Yeah, and I wouldn't do this with somebody unless I've worked with them for quite a while. Like usually,
Yeah.
at the earliest, would be about a year of like actual movement work.
I think that was the question I was trying to ask earlier, and I didn't know how to articulate it. Like, you've already been working with this person. You
Right.
understand their mental processes
Right.
in a way that you can
We get
you
each
know
other
that
at this point.
Right.
Right. They understand me. I understand them. So we get each other at this point. But this is actually a really important concept. You cannot overcome drag with force. So if you are a beginner and you cause a ton of drag because of bad kick or bad posture, trying to generate more force will not ever make you go faster. Your drag will quadruple as you accelerate. So the only way to overcome drag is to make sure you don't cause drag. So that's
From
why
the jump.
Yes, from the jump. Exactly. But not from the botch jump.
Oh, ew, I just made a punt. Sorry. Ew, I don't like it. I wasn't trying to do that.
So the priority of swimming is always the reduction of drag. And so it takes a long time to get to that point. Nobody's perfect, right? Everyone's going to cause drag, but it's always going to be a work in progress to try to reduce drag. And at some point, if we want to start to see times drop and not just efficiency improve, we have to generate more force. All right. And so once we recognize, by we, I mean myself and my client, we recognize that they're holding good posture for a majority of the time that they're swimming. I always go with the 80-20 rule. If you can, perform 80% of what you've learned, I'm good with that. Mm-hmm. And then we start learning how to produce force. So we do that for, I don't know, probably like 4 to 6 weeks of focus of it. Back off of it for a little bit. And we come back to it in like 2 to 3 months.
Do you explain?
Maybe a little less than that.
Do you explain when you're doing things like this that they're like part of the reason why so much time is in between, not progressions of movements?
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't asked my question.
Oh, okay. Well, you kind of did. Go ahead.
Have you explained that in the progressions of these movements that there's so much time in between sometimes because you have to be gaining strength with the new movement?
What was your question?
Do you explain that while learning these new movements, the amount of time in between, like adding step 4 from step 3, happens because your body has to gain strength with this movement first before we add something more difficult?
No, I don't explain that.
Oh.
And I don't explain that because I let it be determined by the individual's ability level, not by a timeline. Meaning,
Well, I didn't put
I don't want to say, I tell people we're going to come back to this. I know for myself, mentally, it's going to be probably like 2 to 3 months before we come back to it. But there's a range of time that I look for so that they can have opportunity to implement the things that they've learned. But I don't necessarily give them a hard timeline because it can't be, because
That's not what I meant.
they're people, they have lives, and they're not always consistent with their training, and shit happens and whatever. All right, so it's like we have to kind of base it off of what their training's been like, if they've been consistent with their training, and then we can move forward.
I didn't mean have a deadline. I meant that this will take time, period,
Well, yeah,
to gain strength in this movement first.
But going back to what we said before, I know these people. We've been working together for like a year or more. So they all understand that progress takes time, especially with swimming. So no, I don't need to explain that to them because they already understand that. They've already been giving a lot of time to their progress for swimming, right? So it's just kind of like sort of adds on to that concept that they've already been working toward of like, okay, I'll be patient, I'll put in the work, I'll make progress, and as we make more progress, I add on more work to do, which then in turn gives more progress. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't really need to explain it for those individuals. But yeah, for a beginner who's listening to this shit takes time. I think somebody who is trying to swim, we'll say laps, wants to become a lap swimmer and doesn't have any swimming ability, or maybe just like really, really basic survival skills in the water, it's going to take them like 2 years to get to a point where they can actually swim laps for 40 minutes to an hour.
Right.
You know, it takes time. I don't know if everyone has the patience for it or if everyone understands the patience for it. I
Right,
definitely
and I think-
try to explain that when we get like newbies in.
Yeah.
I definitely try to give it to them the concept that this will take a lot of time and a lot of practice, but all of a sudden you'll turn around and be like, oh my God, I'm swimming for an hour now. So,
Yeah.
but it does take, I would say 2 years. If you're consistent, it might be less.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because I mean, like you are essentially doing what I'm saying. You're just putting it forth in a different manner. And
Yeah.
I think I just tell I like it. It's doing these with you. It does make it my brain be like, oh, you really do think these things through for like more undeveloped people.
Yeah. I mean, I try.
No, I do.
Yeah, you do, for sure.
And so then it makes it like that's where my brain goes when we have these conversations. Like, how would I have to explain this to like the majority of my clients? And they're mostly competitive teenagers. So it's like, okay, what do you know? But even when I have them forever, they're still growing up. Like I've had someone for 3+ years. It's like, wow, we can do this now because you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
And
right?
that's so much fun.
It is. It's really fun. And I think maybe us just talking about it in these terms like this, people understand that if they're going to commit to making progress in their swimming, they have to commit a lot of time. It isn't as simple as just running. It's just not. As much as I love running, swimming's much more complicated and we spend way less time in the water. So how could we ever just turn around and become swimmers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a time thing for sure. And then it's on top of the time thing, it's a practice as well, where like you have to make sure that you are practicing to a point
Right.
mindfully. Like I said, 80% is all I need. Do not try to do everything perfect. You will not, and you will drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
That was my disclaimer for everybody listening. Don't drive yourselves crazy. You will not be perfect, and it's okay if you're not perfect. Nobody swims perfectly. There's no such thing as a perfect stroke. Let it go.
I think my favorite thing to say is that swimming is like walking. And like, how many times have you tripped today? And then sometimes people go, none. And I'm like, okay, I've tripped like 4 times today. Like, give me a break. Like, sorry that you're, I guess, way better at walking than I am.
Maybe. So going back to our forced production concept here, once we get to a point where they're doing both hands well, and I don't see their posture change, I don't see uncontrolled movements, but still generating good force. And this also, when I'm working with someone doing this,
Yeah.
one of the reasons that I have to wait a long time to do this with them is they have to know themselves. They have to be able to feel what they're doing because I can only see the movement.
Right.
They have to be able to tell if they are actually moving more weight or holding more weight or whatever, or not. So,
And that's where I went to like, do you explain that they have to gain strength? And so it is the same concept, just in a different way. Because you are gaining strength in that while you're mentally understanding and learning.
yeah.
It's so interesting how much I'll split the thoughts of swimming into mental work versus physical work.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll ask a lot, okay, was that easy? And it's like, yeah. Okay, was it easier physically or easier mentally to get this output? Because I think swimming is so much active thought.
It can be. It should be. So, I mean, definitely when you're learning new things, it should be a lot of thought.
Yeah. And for me,
At
it's
some point, swimming has to be just reflexes.
right.
But
But when you're
initially,
learning
not
the
at all.
concepts and understanding what you're doing physically,
Right. And
And it's like, what did you maintain? Because the amount of times I go underwater where you're like, okay, I'm going to film you doing this forced production drill. All you have to do is set a catch, push, and accelerate through your finish. And then I'll go, got it. I go underwater and I'm just like, butterfly kick. I'm doing some breaststroke. And I pop up. How was that? And you're like, what? I don't know. You did nothing that I asked you to do. And you go, oh, right. Didn't mean to. So much different mental work for me.
Just to stay focused.
I think so. Because so much of my swimming practice was being a teenager and going to my practices. Mm-hmm. And I would have to deal with growing up thoughts. Like you're like,
yeah, I mean, there just has to be a level of maturity for sure.
Right. So you have to keep your brain in the spot that of what you're working on. And I think for me, conceptually, I was just always like, there's no air under here. It's harder for me to think. And it's like, and you want me to think through this new movement you just told me to make that you explained in 3 seconds while I'm at the wall getting air in the middle of a set of like 10 200s.
Right.
And so you go, well, I have to make the interval. I have to calculate the interval to see when I'm leaving, which means I need to pay attention during this set. And then I'm supposed to remember what I'm supposed to be, the physical change that you told me in 2 seconds. Understand that, do it, and make the intervals. It was just like so much mental work, I always thought.
Yeah, I think you should be thinking about what you're doing for sure. Mm-hmm. The physical work to me is different than what I think you're kind of describing. I think of the physical work as not, was that hard to do or was that easy to do? I think of the physical work as, is the individual or myself strong enough to make those movements that I've asked them to make?
Right.
If they're not, then I have to get them strong enough in order to make those movements. And then I can ask them to be more cognitive of the movement. But if there's weakness present or dysfunction present, it's not very fair for me to ask them to try to control something that they're unable to control.
They don't know how to control it.
Yeah, their body just doesn't have the strength or the functionality to do that movement, so it can't be mental.
Right.
All right, so yeah, there's this like back and forth for sure. And the force production part that I'm talking about right now is sort of the latter end of coaching for me. Mm-hmm. And that's like, you've demonstrated that you have functionality in these movement patterns. Now we just have to get you stronger in these movement patterns, right? Mm-hmm. So we do eventually break the stroke into individual reps. And the way that we do the individual reps is by having one arm forward, one arm back.
So we
almost like a
with the
6-kick switch.
Started with the butterfly, pushing both underwater.
I would not call it that. It's a double arm.
Sorry, double arm underwater recovery.
Yeah. Because we're not doing any like dolphin kick. We're not exiting the water. But it does echo underwater work for butterfly arms.
Okay. So we start there. And once we get that concept, we move to one arm up and one arm back. So where's back?
I would say hand is somewhere around 4 to 6 inches away from the thigh that's up. Did you picture that when I said that? I was picturing it when I said it. So if you're kicking on your side and your right arm is extended, your right leg is down, your left leg is up.
I'm on my side. Mm-hmm. Okay, I didn't know that. We started on our stomach for both arms. So we're now on our side.
To your point, you wanted to know about rotation.
Right.
Now we're able to add rotation. That's
so
what we're on
you
our
don't
side.
Start this drill on your stomach.
I give people the option to start the first couple of rounds on their stomach so they can kind of understand. But ultimately, if they start on their stomach, they can't recover.
Right.
And so if they can't recover, then how could they do this, right? So I give them the option to either be at 90 degrees, which is not how we should swim, but easier to sort of balance in the water. Or they can try to be at 45 degrees. At 45 degrees, you just have to have much better core strength and coordination, and you're probably not going to hang out on that particular side as long as if you were at 90 degrees. This is a thinking drill.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be mentally prepared to generate one heavy push. Right? It's like doing a single deadlift. That is like your max deadlift. There's focus and concentration there before you do that lift.
I just imagine doing a max deadlift with one leg, since we just went to one arm, right?
So,
It'd be crazy.
yeah, single leg.
So I start on my side, and the arm that I have out, my lead arm out in front, when I do my propulsive catch.
So you'll set your catch.
Yeah.
If you start to shrug your shoulder blade down, your body will automatically start to rotate.
Right.
So that is when you feel that, you push as hard as you possibly can.
Which rotates me to my other side,
Correct.
into my finish.
Into your finish, and then the arm that was down recovers, and now you have that as your lead arm. It is similar to sort of like the concept or position of a 6-kick switch drill, but we don't care about how many kicks you do in between. I don't care how much time you take in between. You take as much time as you need, as long as it is a high quality push. Push as much weight as you possibly can. Do it with a snorkel if you want to take 30 seconds in between each push. I don't care. As long as you're not letting your posture change in order to generate that force. As long as you're not doing something weird with an arm or a wrist or a hand or an elbow. Let's say an elbow. Elbows always get in the way. To compensate for generating force.
Are we kicking?
Absolutely. If you don't kick, your legs sink. Now, if somebody, and I had one person do this, starts kicking especially hard during their arm trying to generate force, they get a pull buoy in between their calves.
Okay. I was going to
Have fun
say,
with that.
because it's easy in that position to load what you're doing.
Or just to give recruit some help, right? Kicking
And
your
not
legs
know
harder
you're,
is
you're
recruiting that
cheating a
help.
little.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how come you have them recover the arm that's down? How come you don't do just a push rotation from the one arm first?
Because I want to move it toward freestyle.
Okay.
I want to keep it as close.
I kept it too out.
Yeah, I like the idea of like isolate it, bring it a little bit closer to actual freestyle, get that under your belt, and then the last phase of the force production drill or progression is we just swim, trying to pull as hard as you possibly can, moving your arms during the recovery as slow as you possibly can. So it is a different approach than what most of my clients are used to doing with their swimming.
Yeah.
All right. And so
Got like a reverse gallop almost. No.
I don't know what
No.
you mean by that, but I wouldn't call it that.
Ignore that.
It's just pulling really hard, trying to do sort of less strokes per distance, but I don't really care about stroke count. I just care about that production of force. That's it. So is your posture good as you do that? Can you maintain that posture as you do this? So for the next, I don't know.
So it is a lot of core too.
It's a ton of core.
So much core.
Uh-huh.
So much oblique. Top out. God, it's everything.
It's a lot of core, a lot of thoracic spine, triceps. I would even say,
It's definitely your lat.
oh yeah. Yeah.
As someone who can't use their lats very well, and her lats are very weak, I'm going, ow, thinking about this movement.
So for the next 6 weeks or so, a lot of my clients that are working on this are doing just a short little set after they warm up of 4 to 8 25s swimming that way, trying to pull as hard as they possibly can. We're not worried about time. We're not worried about pace. We're not worried about stroke count. We are only worried about force production. So they do their warm up, they do their 4 to 8 25s, and then they go off to their drill set, their kick set, whatever, and then their main set and get things done. So I think in about 6 weeks from now, when we back off of it, I should see those people that we've worked on with this on, those people should be swimming faster 100 paces on average than what they were before, 6 weeks beforehand. But not by a lot. It'll be anywhere between, I don't know, I've seen it vary quite a bit. I've seen like 10-second drops to 2-second drops,
I feel like this is a movement that, like, this is what I kind of meant. Like, this is a lot of, like, mental and physical work, and it's, like, a very... What's the opposite of steep? Slow incline grade.
Gradual
incline that
Yeah.
it would take, right? Right? Like it's like, okay, this is like a lot of work. This sort of is akin to me of
It's a
like,
slow burn for
right? Like over 5 years ago now when I started doing Pilates, it's like, okay, what are we gonna do here? And I think like recently, within the last year, now I have the abdominal muscles that I wanted. It
Yeah.
takes so long, and it's just a fascinating process. And so to me, like this type of movement is more comparable to like how I mentally understood, oh, I'm making a big change to lots of parts here. Lots of muscles are working together. And I have to mentally make myself continue to do that movement to make this progress.
Yeah. And this is not work that should be done during season. So
No.
it should be done during the off season.
Because then when you try to add speed to it, right, it's a whole another ball game.
Right.
If you
And-
haven't done the correct work leading up to that.
And this is why we train in peaks and valleys, right? We want to make sure that we give opportunity to build and not just do everything the same pace all the time. So I think the mental work comes in patience. If you're used to swimming a certain way and it doesn't feel right, you're going to lose your patience. If you're used to certain speeds and times or distances that you can go with a certain level of effort, and now that you can't, you're going to lose your patience.
Right.
And you should just be okay with it for right now. It's not a race. Swim practices are not races. They're dress rehearsals.
Practice.
Practice
The
the things that
words
you
in it.
need to become automatic. And if you keep practicing bad things, those bad things become automatic. So that's the sort of like loop that you get stuck in. But kind of off topic there.
My middle name is off topic. Or tangent. Stream
Yes.
of consciousness.
Yes. But, it's something that I want to revisit with them, especially if they are doing late season races, maybe like late summer or fall. Then we can definitely get maybe a second opportunity to generate more force within that sort of off season time. So that's kind of why I'm doing it now in January. Most of my athletes have had time since like October and November to kind of have like back off from their training a little bit, keep in the water, keep swimming, work on some technique things, be a little bit more patient. They're demonstrating good technique. Now it's time to generate more force. Let's generate more force. Okay, you've generated more force. Now let's go back to really good technique. And then it's just going back and forth. And then all of a sudden we start seeing times drop and endurance go up.
Would you ever put weight on their arms for this drill? Like a 1 or a 2 pound,
Yes, absolutely.
almost like cuffed around their palm, actually.
No,
No.
because what I would do for their hand would be increasing paddle size. As they get stronger, they get a small paddle. And as they get even stronger, they get a medium paddle. They get even stronger, they get a big paddle. And if you're like super strong, yoked out, you know what you get? I call them Doritos. Doritos, the yellow triangle kickboards from
terrible.
Finis. Because there's buoyancy and
Not
resistance
meant
against them.
to be used in this fashion.
No, you have to be crazy strong to do that work. That's something that I would recommend for anyone not building to this ability. So, but I think it would be fine to put weights on somebody's wrists just to help give them some additional work during the recovery.
I was thinking about it in terms of when you push into your finish, adding your oblique connection.
Well, you'll feel that.
Some people don't.
If you generate force correctly under the water, you should feel your oblique trigger. And that's one of the things I always ask. Did you feel your tricep? Did you feel your obliques? Did you feel your muscles around your shoulder blade? Right? And if they go, I didn't feel my oblique. Well, where did you feel it in your core? I didn't feel it in my core at all. Okay, well, there was a big problem there. Right? So that is kind of the line of questioning I go down. Right? Because sometimes movements that can be good look like movements that are bad because they're all internal. Some of the movements are internal from your core, and I can't see those things, right? So someone has to be able to articulate those things to me.
I wanted to put the weight on their palm because conceptually, when you start on one of like your second progression, when you have your lead arm out in front,
Yeah.
I also want you to have a strong enough core that you can hold that up out in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is a different way. You could definitely do both.
Yeah, I mean, that goes, to me, that's more of a core strengthening exercise, which I would put into the category of this person's core is dysfunctional. They want to use, I don't know, their mid back instead of their front of their core. So that's the work that we need to do, right? So in line with that, you can make a progression of stretching an exercise band out across your hands, like kayak drill, kicking on your side. That's a ton of core to hold that band stretched out, right? So then I would think that's harder than having a weight on your hand and kicking on your side. But they're both doing similar things, right? So that might be a nice little progression for core strength, I think.
Yeah.
Which, if you don't have the core strength, you're going to cause a lot of drag and not be able to generate a lot of force.
I wish anyone would have told me that when I was a child and I started swimming.
I wish there was more of an emphasis on control when we did dryland stuff versus an emphasis on getting it done quickly, immediately.
Hundreds of
Just
scissor
get it done.
kicks.
Just do it. It doesn't matter if it's incorrect. It doesn't matter. Just do it.
Yeah.
Do it as fast as possible. Can I get back in the water?
And then it's like, you ask a kid, do you know how to do a crunch?
Oh my God.
What is that?
My favorite
What are
is
you
squats.
actually working? What muscles did that work? Your neck?
Yeah.
Because yeah, when your kids and on like at least here on deck, some coaches are like, all right, 100 scissor kicks, 100 this, hold up. And my kids will tell me I had to hold a plank for 5 minutes, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah, let's see that plank.
well, let's see your plank.
Garbage
Oh,
probably.
let's adjust this one thing. Can you hold that for 10 seconds? No. What were you doing for 5 minutes?
Leaning on their shoulders probably.
Low back, yeah. It's so fascinating.
So yeah, I just wanted to talk about force reduction, how I'm going about doing it, why I'm going about doing it now. That's all. Just wanted to share that with everybody. It's important to be getting in the water at this point. It is off-season time for anyone in North America. So go to the pool and practice what you need to practice. If you have questions about this, you are more than welcome to DM us on Instagram at TrySwimCoach, or you can shoot me an email at dominic@tryswimcoach.com. I'm going to see if I can find some videos that are recorded from my clients doing this work. And
Yes, examples.
I'll put them up on the Try Swim Coach Facebook page, and I'll link to them in the comments of this podcast.
So you can see the drills we're actually talking about.
Yeah, just in case you don't have a visual mind, or I don't know, maybe you're paying attention to the road right now as you drive and you don't want to picture what we're talking about. Please don't. Just drive safely. So, any last thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
It's just so interesting to me. I can't stop thinking about it, like a med ball slam. Like I can't get back to like swimming, even though like it is like that movement. I'm just in the water because I don't explain things like that. So it's like very interesting to me to think about it like that.
I'm very visual, so a lot of times what I'll try to do is I'll take a video of someone doing the movement horizontally in the water, and I'll take the phone and turn it vertical and go, look, that's what you would look like if you were standing. And then when they do the med ball slam, I film them on their side, like from the side view, and I turn it horizontal and go, look, that's what you're going to do in the water.
I love the simple things we do. And it's like, oh,
It's weird. People
we're not
have a hard time
geniuses.
with that.
We just, well, yeah, I mean, it's not, I have a hard time with that.
Yeah, you're a person.
I bring people out of the water a lot too to go, okay,
Yeah.
stand here, set your swimming posture, right? What'd you do to set it? We have to do it in the pool,
Right.
right? Just switching the phone. I should rotate the phone. I like that.
Yeah.
It's a good call.
Yeah. I've always found it very interesting that what I demonstrate on a pool deck or in front of a pool, I have to be mindful of what people are looking at.
Yeah.
I have done it. I have seen many coaches do it. I've seen all of my swimmers do it. They'll demonstrate a horizontal movement vertically. And they're not matching because you're not horizontal. All right. And so just be mindful of watching yourself in a mirror vertically. Can you take that and then apply it horizontally when you swim? That's my advice to everybody.
Ooh, what a
Watch
good
yourself in the mirror.
thought.
Because then you could kind of get a better understanding. And it's kind of a spatial awareness proprioception thing.
Yeah. Body awareness is huge. Right. It's like body awareness on land versus body awareness in the water. So like, that's a concept you have to learn too.
Yeah. Well, that is like the concept to learn.
Yes.
How do I actually know what my limbs are doing when I can't see them?
It's so fascinating to me.
Not easy to do.
I love when I tell people, I forget to kick because I can't see my legs. Period. End of story. That's it. It's okay. So I do these tricks to make sure I keep kicking.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to wrap this up with just a simple thought. Be patient with your swimming and have fun with your swimming. You're learning something new. It should be fun.
It should be fun.
All right. That's it for now. Until the next time, we will talk to you later.
Bye.